Today is one of the most, if not, I honestly feel like the most exciting days as an author, and that is when you hold the physical version of your book. Even if it is not the version that will actually see print, it is still in editing, but like having the physical copy is like the best. So that is today. So without further ado, ta-da! See, Banner of Death, you cannot use this for marketing purposes, which is so great when you're an author. You love not getting to use your book till everyone else can buy a copy. Cause, you know, sure. But here we are. This is my book. Oh my god, it turned out huge. Look at it. It's not too big, it's not overwhelmingly big, but it's like a nice size to a book. Like, lookity look. Isn't it glorious? So, if you don't know, this is my first official, really legit witchcraft book I have written. So I have tried to write this book a couple times before, and I must say this is by far the best version of this book because initially it was just going to be the rituals, no other information in there, and I tried that a couple different times. Like the first time was straight rituals, and then I added like a little blob. And this time I've added in a bunch of information. I have a new pen name, because you always use pen names. Once in a while people use their legal names, but for the most part authors are going to use pen names because like it just saves your identity. Sometimes it's nice to have people know who you are based on your actual name, but for the most part there's creepers out there. It's great to have not your real name. So anyways, it kind of goes along with my other pen name I picked in high school. Similar initials, so I can kind of keep my signature the same. And yeah, so here we are. This is The Death Journey, a witch's practical guide to death. And it's glorious. I'm sure there will be changes and things I have to fix in here, but for the most part, like, it's glorious. Look at this. I just am gushing. There's no other words, really. This is, let's see how many pages. 408 pages total for this book. Which again, it's not a huge book, especially compared to my last one I did, which was close to 600 pages, but this is still a nice chunk of a book. And a lot of this, the pages do come from the fact that rituals and stuff like just don't take up as much space as like a fiction book. Cause like, look, you got lists going on here. That doesn't take up as much space as like, where's a good example? Like when you're actually like verbs and words and stuff going on over here. But yeah, so I'm very excited for this book to be so close to publishing. This is like close to the final steps. Basically from here on out, what's gonna happen is I'm gonna have somebody do some proofreading over this, see if there's anything that doesn't make sense, if I need to change some stuff. Mostly in like the author world, this is like the line edits. Not really structural edits, but that does kind of come into it. We just kind of do it all at once. Professional editors will go a lot more in depth and have many levels, and they charge you a lot of money for each of those levels. I don't have that kind of money. I just spent $3 grand on my cat dying as I was waiting for this to ship. So, needless to say, I'm gonna see how well this book applies having just gone through a death, and how much I would use the information and how accessible that is for that particular death. This is mostly aimed at humans when they pass, but there is a part in here for pets, but a lot of it you would honestly just adjust from the previous things, because I would totally do a ritual if you could, like when they die and like as they're dying and different things, and like when we get her ashes back we'll do a ritual similar to that in here. But I mean really it's mostly the same for people versus pets. And I guess it does depend on your pet. If you have like a horse, that's gonna be a little different because like they're huge and like, you know, but overall I'm so proud of myself for writing this book. I can't believe the size of this, honestly, because the other variations of this were like little teensy pamphlets, and now this is like a legit book, and I hope it's going to be helpful. I hope people are going to enjoy this and buy this. I know that sounds terrible, but like, I'm not good at marketing, in case you guys cannot tell. I'm not fabulous at being like, please buy my book, but please buy my book. Because you see, on there are two fronts. The first being, as an author, as a job, I would like to make money. That is step one. But also, on a much more practical sense, I really want this book to actually help the community, and I think it will, because I haven't seen a book like this out there where we're covering both the mundane stuff that you have to deal with when it comes to death and magical stuff. I haven't really stumbled across a book that talks about both. Like, when you sit down to write an obituary, what are the sections you should include? And, like, examples, because that can be really overwhelming. I got an example and, like, little sections for you to fill out. Like, there's a lot of mundane alongside magical in here, and I really just hope that this is going to be a good resource for a lot of people. And, like, I don't know, it feels weird having a death book be so green, but also I feel like I have a lot more green options for death in here than like most books, and honestly I'm a little tired of my books always being black, to be honest. And I don't know, like, that cover is just so beautiful. Might just ignore the banner of awful here, but like, isn't it just so pretty? So anyways, moral of the story, I really hope this book is going to be helpful to people. I think it will. I think we've got a lot of different options in here, and I think what I'm going to end up doing, which is something I thought about earlier, is that as this gets closer to publication, or like maybe release week, because I don't know when exactly it's gonna release, because that's the joys of self-publishing, because you hit publish and then it's like, like within like a week it'll be available. You can't pick what day, just at some point we'll decide that it's available. So when I see that link available, I will let you all know that you can go buy it. But this one is going to come in 3 variations. So you have a hardback, this is the paperback, and then an ebook. I will do another video when I get the hardback, because I haven't ever gotten a hardback from Amazon yet. I'm still in the process of dealing with things through Barnes & Noble, but yeah, look at, it's just, this is the part where I have no words and I'm just happy to have a book. I really do hope this book will help people. I think it will. Honestly, death can be so complicated, and it's got a variety of rituals and options for you to do. Some are a little more subtle or less energy, and others, when you really need to dive into the craft, like, it is there for you. You got all the bells and whistles coming out and everything in between. I do recommend that you are not a beginner for this book. You need to have some background knowledge, and I explicitly state that very early on. This is not beginner friendly, because honestly, when you are grieving, that's not the time to start learning about witchcraft. You need to process some stuff before you jump into all of this. It requires you having all of the things already set up. You know how to visualize, you know how to create sacred space, you have a vague idea of your own practice, and this is just like a variation that you could use. But yeah, needless to say, I am just so over the moon excited for this book to be available. And then once it does release, I am planning to do like an audio version. Not a full book, because I don't know how to do that, but to have like an audio offering of a couple chapters here on the channel, and they will be coming out whenever this is available, whatever week it comes out. Once it's there, I will shuffle the stuff around. Basically, I think early August, maybe mid-August, depending on how the edits and stuff go. But once this is around the time of hitting publish, I will start to release a few chapters, not a lot, because audiobooks are a pain in the butt. I'm not good at reading out loud, which is ironic for the amount of books that I read, but I cannot really read out loud. So when I read off of a script, it is very different than my normal talking voice. People who are on my Patreon who listen to my podcast, you will notice that it's very different, because I'm sitting there like trying to read the words exactly. And I'm like, don't mess this up. And I have so many takes. It takes like 3 hours to record like a 12-minute video, because I'm just sitting there like, do I know how to read at this point? Because I always change the words. But I'm planning to do at least a few chapters of this as a sampling, so that you have an idea of what you're getting into with this book. But really, I would just greatly appreciate you planning to buy this. You cannot pre-order it, because Amazon doesn't give you that option, unless you go through a different website, which is a pain in the ass. So we're not doing that. Like, there's a video from Mandy Lynn. I think she's changing her name to Mandy Lynn Bell now. But anyways, she's a self-publishing author, and she talks about it, and she had conniptions with that, so I'm just gonna announce when it's available. I publish every other month, pretty much, so it'll be fine. Like, my next book is a fiction book and that's coming out in October. So like, you'll be seeing things soon, but witchy books, not so much. I'm maybe one a year at most. But anyways, I'm just rambling, but there's something about holding your own book that's just magic and wonder and amazing. So anyways, I just wanted to chat about this, show you my wonderful book, and yeah. So if you want to buy it, I will have links on my blog, so you can always find it there. But again, that will not be available until I actually hit publish. But for now, just get psyched and remember this, and that it will be coming available soon. And then you should buy a copy so you can support my chaos. And then let me know how this helps you and whatever. So anyways, that is going to be enough rambling for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you to my patrons. And until next time, blessed be.